Given that it's winter or almost winter, I'm going to make a snowman because Christmas is coming and snowmen are just the cutest things. So to begin with, I'm just doing a little sketch with pencil because I'm going to refine it with pen. And this is a good way to start because you don't have to worry about mistakes. You can fix them easily. So I'm going to put a little scarf on my guy. And his body's a little bit funny. So this is the time to fix it. His or her, I don't know what it's going to be exactly. Doesn't really matter. But when you do things like making them lopsided, it's easy to fix them when you do it in pencil. So here's my little character with his winter hat, which actually I'm going to put this a little bit farther over, just kind of like that. And here in Canada, a hat like that is called a toque. And then over here, I'm going to make a tree, just a little evergreen. So it's going to go kind of like this. And you'll see why in a minute. And on top of it, I'll put a little bird. It's supposed to look like a cardinal, but to be honest, I've never seen a cardinal in real life. We don't have them here. Okay, now I need a pen, and so I'm going to use a micron pen. I don't think I'm going to use that one though. That's the same. I think I'll use the 01. And let's just see. I like that. So I'm just starting here and making his little toque. And as I do that, I can refine the drawing a little bit more. Because I did it in pencil first, I can actually make these kind of changes that you wouldn't make otherwise because you couldn't erase them. So he's got a striped scarf on and a striped band on his hat. So I have to put the curves like this going towards straight in the center. And the center is where your eye level is basically. So if I was looking straight on to this little guy, sooner or later, those stripes would look straight up and down. See? This is the snow on the boughs of the tree. And in between we have the greenery, which I can put on either before or after. In this case, I'm going to do it before, and then the snow can kind of go around it. And you'll see how it comes together once I start painting. So we have snow here, but fortunately it's up on the mountainsides, because when I look out my window, there's a very large mountain, well, a range basically, and the snow comes down to the melt level. You can watch it go up and down the mountain depending on the temperature on the valley floor. And I think most of us here are just fine with it staying up there. There's my little bird. I can put his eye in already. I might as well put these black eyes in as well. And we've got little twiggy arms. I think I'll just put little tassels on his scarf too. I can hear swans going over right now. This is a wintering place for swans, and they come down from the north this time of year. Now I'm just going to go over this and get rid of the pencil lines. Even though they're quite faint, I don't want them there, so it's easy to just erase them. And by the way, I used a 2H pencil, which is a fairly hard lead, and it makes a really light line. I need stripes on his little scarf, so we'll give him a couple of those. Okay, so first of all, I am going to put in some greenery here. And I've got another palette that I use. It has different brands of color. So sometimes I like these two greens better than the greens I have in here. So then I'll come in here and just re-wet these ones that are already mixed and use them. I'm not suggesting that you need to have that, but I like it, and so I use it. So this is a really easy way to make it just a Christmas tree. So if you wanted to make something like this for a Christmas card, this is how you do it. Okay, this is my darkest green, and I'm going to put in some other colors here in a second. So I'll just wash that out. And the other color is called sap green. The first one was hooker's green. So there's our perfect little stylized tree with snow on it. And now I'm going to use a smaller brush because things are getting pretty little. When you're painting this small, it's hard to paint around things sometimes. So I always let myself off the hook if it doesn't turn out perfectly in the lines. But I need to turn my page here. Otherwise, I'll get my hand in paint. That never turns out well. So I've been doing my Christmas shopping. I actually don't officially start shopping any particular time. I just start kind of thinking about it in the fall, and then when I see something or someone says, oh, you can get me that for Christmas, then I make a note of it and start picking things up. The only problem with this early system is that sometimes I forget what I've bought and I go buy more things, which never seems to hurt anybody's feelings. Because in our family we like lots of presents. And this year our kids are coming home, so that's nice. And one of our so-called kids is just about 2. So I think that's going to be a pretty fun situation. Last year she was so little that it was like, I don't know what everybody's doing, but they sure seem happy. And again, it's really hard as a grandma not to go overboard with presents for little people. I also have a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old, so that's fun. All right, more wet spots. So here we go. Every second one. So this is the kind of thing you can easily do with a marker or with pencil crayons or even with acrylic or gouache. So many ways that you can do the coloring, but I find with watercolor, when it comes to shading, which we'll do in a minute, watercolor is just so good for it because it's so easy to move around. Flows like nothing else. I actually wish that I'd used alizarin crimson because it's a kind of a more scarlet red. In fact, this is alizarin right here. I am going to just dab a little bit in on these things because I like it better. It's more, like I said, it's more scarlet. Whereas this other red goes a little bit orangey when it's thinner. Okay, now I want my other brush, and I'm going to use this blue, I think, ultramarine deep. Yep, I'm going to use this blue, and it needs to be quite watery. It's a little bit too pale. This is just kind of shaping for the snow because it just needs something to look like it's got a little bit of shape. It's not just white, because when light hits the snow, of course you get that, and it's not, you know, completely, it's not like it was squeezed out of a ice cream machine or anything. And keep in mind that watercolor always dries lighter. Some other paints dry darker. I think gouache dries darker. Now I'm going to take this also and put some of it along the bottom here. Notice I just picked up water. I didn't pick up more paint. So I'm just basically telling the viewer that this is white. All right, I think we can probably start on our little snow person now. So how I'm going to do this is first with water. So this just gives them shape. Like I said, you have to be careful that you don't put your hand in it. Oh, I forgot to decorate his hat. Well, it's not too late. So I'm going to turn this over again so I don't get my hand in the water because there's plenty of it right now. And then I'll take this brush again and the alizarin crimson, and I think I'll put red here. So it's 4:30 and it's completely dark. 20 to 5. It's completely dark here. And it's a clear night, so it's not because it's clouded over dark. And it takes another month and a half or something until it goes the other way. Actually, according to my husband, it's what I call the turnaround day. Sometime after Christmas, like late December, early January, it actually starts moving a little bit. That is the sun. Okay, let's see the color here of this. It's a very Christmassy red. All right, I don't think I can put that down yet because it's too wet. Everything is too wet. I am going to give this little snowman some more contour. Just the faintest blue along the front here. And you can even just dab it in because it tends to, like, see how it's where you lift the brush is where it deposits the most. So I'm going to take this and add some more on the back side. Take the water or the paint out of the brush and go over the edge so that it bleeds. So we've got our little snow person seeing the red bird and going, oh! Now I need a carrot nose. That's pretty bright for a carrot. Let's try this. Yeah, that looks more carroty. So a very tiny brush with a very fine point in this case. All right, we'll finish with that, and then I want a little bit of brown, which I think this reddy brown maybe? No, I want it darker. So I applied heat and it made my paper curl, which isn't surprising. So I'm just going to clip it down so that it's not in my way. There's his little twiggy arms. And I'm going to use this lovely forest green called a hooker's green. Don't ask me why. So I don't have to necessarily cover up every speck of white. I'm attempting to, but it's pretty tiny, right? When my sister and I were teenagers, we said it wasn't fair that when you make a figure out of snow, it's always a snowman. And since there's no way to tell the gender of a snow sculpture in the shape of a person, we called them snow individuals. Quite ahead of our time, weren't we? And I think it'll be easier to do from this way. That's the nice thing about working small, is that you can just turn your paper around so that it's more convenient. And I've got so much thick paint here, I'm going to transfer some of it over here. And then I'll put a little tassel there in green. And same for the scarf now. I need to do that green stripe. Too much water. If I have too much water, I just tap it on like that on paper towel. That doesn't take away any of the color, it just takes away some of the volume in the brush. I use sable brushes as well as synthetic ones. And the sable ones hold a lot of water, so you end up sometimes with a lot of water in the brush, more than you need. So as you can tell, this is slow work, but it's tiny. You can always work a lot bigger. You can work with acrylics. Like I said, crayons, you name it, you can do whatever works for you. So there's our little snow individual. And all I need to do now is just fill in a couple of little tiny spots here on its eye. What you can do is, with the video, is just, you know where the little gear thing is on the bottom corner, bottom right hand corner when you're seeing the video on your screen, you can just click on that and a little pop-up comes up and there's playback speed, and you can turn it down so that it's going a lot more slowly, and you can shut off the sound if you want to, and then you can just watch the movement and do it at the same time. And because this is small, you can, you know, if you're sitting at a laptop or whatever, you can always work on your lap and have the instruction right there. So I hope you give it a try, and I will see you next time.